So, did you have any speaking roles in this movie as Jason, or are you basically on stage just reenacting some live performances?
There's not any speaking roles. It's more or less reenactments. Maybe there was some scenes where I mouthed some words or whatever, but like there's B-roll in reenactments, like how Jason would be with the crowd. We reenact, where he brushed off the record label A&R rep, like just key moments that he talks about in the narration. That's what I did. So it was like maybe 6 or 7 scenes. Boudreaux can touch on that more. Like I said, the day was kind of a blur because I was way too excited.
I can't, that's normal for you. I can't, yes. You can't help it. You got energy to boot. I am really cringy about the scene where me are brushing off little Celine Armback from SBK Music. Technically, the publishing company, not the record label, is who Celine worked for. But that happened right there by the men's bathroom, right there at the old back room, right just stage left. I'm wondering if they got that detail right. And I'm wondering how much of an asshole you had to act like in that scene. I hope it was like, to measure it in sandpaper, I'm hoping it was a very, very high grit.
I just remember I can't comment on it. I don't think Boudreaux will let me. But no, it was interesting. We'll just say that it was interesting. Okay. But I don't think I think it's not as evil as that. I think it's more or less just it's a little bit more playful, a little bit more tongue in cheek. But
good. Okay.
It gets the point across. Yeah. I think.
Yeah. To be clear, and just while I'm thinking about it, because obviously she became our immediate ally within 48 hours of our meeting. But the gut reaction that I had towards her when first approached was pretty much how I described it in the interview for the film, which was this. I'm not even in this band, but you can go talk to those guys right over there. They're right there. There's no backstage. They're just standing there pulling gear off the stage,
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it.
I think that's what I said though, is I think I copied that line, what you said verbatim, go talk to those suckers over there or whatever you said. I think that's the only line I said.
Okay. Well, I'm glad she did, or I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, it's been that way sometimes too, when I'm at shows and stuff where people will try to come up to you at a show and they want to talk, well, let me book you on this show or whatever. And I'm always like, yeah, whatever, dude, I'm working. I was like, if you're serious, contact me afterwards. And then some people are like, nah, dude, like, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. It's just because you get a lot of people, and you know this from playing back in the day, and even now, you get a lot of people that come up to you, and I don't think that they're ill-intentioned, but they don't necessarily, I don't know how to word this without sounding like an asshole, but they don't necessarily have something to offer you of substance. You know what I mean? And they also don't know the ins and outs of what you're doing. So whereas they think they might be helping, you'd be like, I'm already got that covered tenfold or something. You know what I mean? And it's not that I'm brushing them off like, fuck you or whatever. It's just like, hey, man, like I'm at a show. My mindset's in show mindset. I'm interacting with fans. If you want to talk business or something like that, here's my phone number. Here's my email. We can talk after the show. I don't think there's anything that's a pressing matter that needs to be discussed now. Like, oh, you need to be on a plane tomorrow. Like, that's like fantasy and not reality. So
yeah, there's a time and a place to talk business.
Yeah,
that's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. But during that situation back then, it was like the story behind that. Just to give a little bit more insight is, she had seen Onyx play, which is basically Dangerous Toys without me, with a girl singer with a different name, the year before, and she came back the next year, which would have been this encounter, and was watching Onyx play with a whole new band, because she had left what was the old Onyx, which is now Dangerous Toys with me, and she had a new band. And so, all right, I'm going back. It's been a year. I'm going to go see how they've developed. And Celine is watching Onyx downtown somewhere, and she's like leaning over to somebody going, something's different about this band. Yeah, they got a thrash metal singer, and they're called Dangerous Toys. They're playing right now at the back room. Give me a cab. The rest is history.
Wow.
Some things are meant to be.
Yeah. So this movie, Bloody and Bruised, the untold story of the back room, has been submitted for South by Southwest 2024, and we're all hoping and crossing our fingers that it gets accepted and that it will make its screen debut in March of 2024 during South by Southwest. So since we're talking about it, I wanted to make people aware of when they could look for this and expect to see it and watch Christian perform as Jason. And I think anybody that's been around Austin, and even people that didn't necessarily grow up here, it's going to be a really good movie, because it's rare that a club has a run for that long, 30, 35 years. And when you do roll call of some of the names that went through those doors, it's pretty impressive. And Jason can speak to this. All those touring bands that went through the back room, they know it. They remember that venue. So I think it's got, obviously it's got some appeal for an Austin audience, but I think it's got a much wider appeal because a lot of bands went through there that made a big name for themselves. And so it's recognized not only in Texas, but around the world, around the country, for sure.
Well, to comment on that, Dave, being up in Rhode Island as a kid, the clubs that I always heard about were the Whiskey in LA and, was it CBGBs in New York?
Yeah.
That's what everybody talked about. Nobody talked about Austin up there. I didn't even know what Austin was, to be honest. And then when people started telling me about it before I came down, they're like, it's the live music capital of the world. And I went, it's the live music capital of the world. How come I've never heard of it? So that was just me being...
Because that is this bumper sticker. That's not the truth.
Well, I get it. But I was intrigued by that. But now it's kind of interesting how, Austin is going to have a movie about its club and the bands that, cut their teeth down here and all that stuff. And so hopefully it could be on par with the Whiskey and all that stuff. It's just unfortunate that the Whiskey is the only club that exists out of the three. The other two don't anymore. So, yeah. But it's just an interesting little thing that I thought of when I heard about it. I love music history. I used to watch all those documentaries on every band, club, tour, whatever, because I was hungry for knowledge. I mean, I'm still hungry for knowledge. Like, I want to learn everything about everybody. That's why I ask Jason a million questions all the time.
Well, obviously, we needed you down here so you could play me in the movie. Let's see. We're making a movie about a club that kicked a bunch of ass and created a bunch of cool vibes and saw a lot of bands come and go and get their career started and blah, 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 blah. Let's get this kid from Rhode Island to play a Texan, which I think is ironic and really awesome at the same time.
It is. And, there was a culture around the club, right? People talk about, because like, obviously Dave's a huge Kiss fan too. Paul Stanley always talks about phenomenons impact society, right? So with music, there's been all these cultural shifts, right? We've seen it through the decades and all that stuff. So that was like a big culture down here. So I think it's awesome to be part of that culture because, being in Austin, some people might not like me saying this since I'm not from Austin, but an outsider, it feels like, I've been here for 8 years. When I first moved here, fast forward 8 years, it feels like it's becoming more of like a techno hub or tech hub rather, not techno music, tech hub. And it's like losing like the allure of what it's known for bands. I mean, bands still play everywhere, but there's like, I'm not hearing anything that's like really like, ooh, what's going on over here? It's kind of like, hey, everybody's doing everything, Yeah. There's nothing that's sticking out.
That's a good way.
Fair.
That's totally fair. And if you look at the progress of the city, as well as its things that have made it cool, like Keep Austin Weird is not let's have purple hair. Keep Austin Weird is a campaign to remind people to not shop at Walmart and buy locally, eat locally. Shop locally, buy local from local artisans, local companies, et cetera, et cetera. So, that kind of had blown up and, yeah, Austin's weird. All right. Bunch of weird, they missed the point. Live music capital of the world, same thing. It's a slogan, just like keep Austin weird. It's a slogan. It's not the live music capital of the world. Chicago or New Orleans, those would be live music capital of the world if you ask me, but that's just me. So I feel like this idea for this movie is where I'm going. While you said a bunch of beautiful things, but the whole time I'm thinking, they could, whoever powers it be, in the Midwest could make a movie about the Aragon Ballroom. New York and New Jersey could get together and make a movie about L'Amour's. There's all of these pockets that had these phenomenons, as to quote, go back to your Paul Stanley quote, that's a phenomenon because everyone who talks about L'Amour's, they know about the back room. Yeah. Everyone who's played the Aragon Ballroom and through Ohio and Illinois and dude, they know about the back room. The Aragon Ballroom had these different tiers. They had the big room and they had the small room. But you have the little theater and then the big sort of, kind of real big theater kind of a vibe, which is really cool because there would be gigs going on at the same time. And those are music cities to me. In the Midwest, what we do and what we talk about here, they love it in the Midwest.